to start off, okay, so this side we've got the Callum first speaker, Omar second speaker, Chris third, and Daniel fourth. For the students and the teachers' side, we've got Miss Chmielewska first speaker, we've got Mr. Barton second speaker, Miss Masters third speaker, and Miss Luscombe fourth speaker. Motion is, should teachers be sent to prison for having
a consensual relationship with the student?
A consensual relationship with a student under 16? Over 16.
Arguing, and my team are going to be helping me. We believe that teachers should go to prison if the consenting pupil is 16. Okay? So first of all, before we begin, I'm going to define the mechanism and give a bit more detail. If a pupil is under the age of 16, they are a minor in the eyes of the law. Okay? They are not an adult. The teacher would serve a prison sentence if they were found to be having, whether it's consenting or not, a relationship. Just because someone may be a few months over 15, why should the teacher be treated any differently? We're saying that a teacher should face a short prison sentence, so maybe a matter of weeks or months, followed, most importantly, by rehabilitation and training to teach them about what they're doing is completely wrong. Essentially, we're going to be arguing that this is child abuse, the people in their care are vulnerable, and they need help. So, although there will be a prison sentence, the idea is there will also be support for them.
On the point of information,
yes, go on.
you said it's child abuse. It's not child abuse because in the eyes of the law they are seen as an adult.
I can see what you're saying, Callum, but the fact is that when you're in a position of power and you're a teacher, whether a pupil is a couple of days over 15 or 16, surely they're under your care, and it is vital that they receive your professional duty and help, okay? They are not allowed to smoke, they're not allowed to drink. Why should they be allowed to have an emotionally mature relationship? It's abuse. Okay, I am going to be making a couple of points. I'm going to be talking about the fact that this is a disorder. We believe this is a disorder, and the fact that the punishment will be used as a deterrent. It will be harsh to start with, to encourage everybody to not make these mistakes again. Mr. Barton then is going to talk in a little bit more detail and give us some examples and show us some amazing rhetoric, teacher war. The third speaker, Miss Masters, is going to be talking about the concept of responsibility and trust, and then Miss Luscombe is our summary speaker. So, first of all, it can be a disorder. There's something it's called, what have I got it called? Oh yeah, ephebophilia is the name of the disorder that means that you have a sexual preference for individuals that are physically mature but not emotionally mature. So a pupil who is maybe 16 or older but still at school may look physically the same as an adult, but emotionally they're still in their formative years, they've still got a lot of development to go under, and we've also found out that this is seen as to be a disorder. And if it's a disorder that an adult has that means that they are attracted to people in this way, they should not be in a position of authority, they should not be a teacher, and more importantly, they should be forced to pay for any crime that they commit or any problems that they commit by going to prison and then ultimately being taught about the way to behave and get help for their problem, okay? Any other disorder, you would get help for it. What else have I got? And then, it should be seen as a deterrent, it should be a harsh punishment. Thank you for listening to me. Hopefully I've been a good first speaker. Sam, please listen to me.
First speaker, Callum for the opposition.
Hi, my name's Callum, and we are against sending teachers to jail for having a consensual relationship with a student over the age of 16. In my speech I will have 2 points, which is that they are a legal adult in the eyes of the law and they are giving consent which they are able to do under the eyes of the law. Omar, our second speaker, will have 2 points, that it is not against the student's will and you must respect that pupil's decision. And Chris, our third speaker, will talk about clogged up jails and consequences, and Daniel will be summarising the debate for our side. Now, I'd like to start off with some rebuttal from the first speaker there. You talked about, when you was defining the motion, you talked about under 16-year-olds. You talked about it was illegal for a teacher to have a relationship under 16. You talked about 15-year-olds, which is not in the motion. We're talking about over 16s, and you went to talk about under 16s at the beginning. And also, you talked about sending them to jail for a couple of months. That's not a deterrent. somebody gets convicted for murder, get put in jail for 25 gets put in jail for 25 years. That's not a deterrent to them. And also, a harsher punishment would be telling that teacher you could never ever teach again. That would be more of a deterrent from doing it than going to jail. And also, you can't help who you fall in love with. There's been many cases when 17, 18-year-olds are going out with 60, 70-year-olds. You cannot help who you fall in love with. Now, to my first point, legal adult. Under the eyes of the law, right, a 16-year-old is able to consent to what they want, apart from drinking alcohol and smoking. Those are the only two exceptions at the age of 16 that you cannot consent to. Yes.
You can't vote either.
Yes, you can't. Yes, you can't. You can't vote either. Yes, I know you can't. Yes, I know you can't vote either, but that is outside of the debate. We're not talking about that. So, also, and they are legal adults in the eyes of the law, so they're able to consent on what they wish to consent on. So if they want to consent to having a relationship when they are judged by the law to be able to make that decision, then we should allow them to make that decision and respect that decision, which is what Omar will talk about in his speech. Also now to my second point is consent. That student is given consent. If you're given consent, then you are able, to go and follow that. Up until 16, your parents make the consent for you. After 16, you make the consent on your own. So why not? Shouldn't the pupils be allowed to make that consent? And Omar will follow on from this point by talking about it's not against that person's will, which links into consent. Now, before I finish off my speech, I'd like to appeal to our Judge Sam, who is a respectable part of the debate club community, and he knows what's right and what's wrong, and he knows that he must vote opposition for the actual correct place in the law. Thank you.
The second speaker for the prop, Mr. Barton.
Okay, picture this. You are in year 11, okay? You have just returned from your 6 weeks holiday in which you celebrated your sweet 16th birthday, and greeting you upon your arrival in a new classroom is a new teacher of your favourite subject. That teacher is what you would class as a full-blown hottie. And girls, I'm talking about people who look like the guy from Twilight that you currently prefer. And boys, I'm talking about someone that looks maybe a bit like Talisa from The X Factor. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't matter what they look like. If they like you, and things get a bit heavier than they should do in the normal student or teacher relationship, then that's wrong. You might think that you don't know how it started, and you love it because you're going out with someone who's a bit more older, a bit more mature, and a bit more experienced. But, most of all, you're going out with an adult. You are a child, and you're going out with an adult. Yes, I'll take it.
Well, you're not actually an adult because you're over 16.
I disagree, because I think that to be classed as an adult, you have to have the ability to be able to drive, to be able to vote, and to be able to drink alcohol. An 18-year-old celebrates their 18th birthday for a reason. That's the passage to adulthood.
You can actually drive at the age of 16. You can start getting lessons from the age of 11 from this new government scheme that they have started to bring in called the Young Drivers Scheme. So I think you better revise that point.
I disagree, because I think that you cannot legally drive and pass your test at that age. Let's get back to the original point. Teacher is trusted by other teachers, trusted by classmates, trusted by the students' parents. They're trusted to be the voice of guidance, to be the voice of reason, to show somebody what's right and what's wrong.
On the point of information.
Yes.
If that teacher's trusted, then you would trust them not to mess about and not to be dishonest in that relationship.
Okay, well, I'm sure one of my fellow debaters will come to that point. People have mentioned child abuse. In my opinion, this is a form of child abuse, and I will not take any point of information on this. Because child abuse is not something that just happens in people's homes. This is an abuse of trust, and it's abuse of power, and most of all, it's an abuse of responsibility that's sickening. Teachers are there to protect students, support them, and to help them. And these are the reasons that dedicated professionals come into education, It's not just a job, it's a vocation, and those working in education are very privileged. Taking advantage of this is disgusting, and it's unprofessional, and most of all, and here's where I come to my main point, it should be criminal. Because not only should those who engage in this sickening behaviour never teach again, but they should also go to jail. Irrespective of their age and irrespective of their gender, I repeat, they should go to jail. The damage these people inflict upon the profession is irreparable, and the damage they do to students, and particularly vulnerable students, is unforgivable. So, I implore you, Judge, take our view into account. Prison is the only option for these people who are a disgrace to the profession.
Our second speaker for the opposition is Omar.
Hello, my name is Omar Schrouder and I'm the second speaker for opposition. Today I have 2 points that I want to put across to you today, which shows why that we should allow people, students over the age of 16, to have a consented relationship with a teacher. But before I make these points, I want to make some rebuttal. So you said that prison is the solution. In any circumstances, prison is never the solution. I'm sure we can find better solutions to do that. And also, we said that they should never teach again. That's a bit harsh just for doing that. And what if the student was really going after the teacher? Then what would you do in that case? Would the police look at it that way? So I want to, but before I going to go into a point, I want to start with saying this. A 15-year-old girl by the name of Megan Stans from West Sussex. She was with this teacher in a relationship. Now I don't see what's wrong with that. So,
A point of information, the 15-year-old girl was 15, and therefore I think that a lot of people would deem that to be wrong.
Well, I was going to get onto that. Thank you, sir. Yes, at the moment, yes, she is 15. At the moment, yes, she is 15. But when she got to her 16th birthday, we would see that would be alright. For my first point, that is not against their will. They are giving consent for them to go. And
Point of information, I believe that's called grooming.
no, thank you. They're giving consent for them to go out with the teacher, and they're not. It's not that they have a gun to their head saying, "Oh, you have to go out." With
Point of
me."
information.
No, thank you. No, thank you. And it's legally, and should be legally okay because they are over the age of 16, and this, as this Callum said before, this links to his point about consent, and my second point is that you should respect the people's decision. It's basically human rights if we're not respecting their decisions. So now I want you to all think back to when you were 16. Now I know that might be a while ago, but yeah. Well, you were at that difficult age when you were 16. You wanted to do stuff, but your parents, they would just like push you around and like you still living under their rules, their house, whatever. Wouldn't you want that chance to make your own decisions, to be an adult for a change? So my 2 points again were that it's not against will, which linked to Callum's point about consent, and you should respect the people's decision. So Sam, we all know you're a smart boy. So please make the right decision and vote opposition. Thank you for your support.